Well, good afternoon folks, and welcome back to the channel to another review, the second one of this week's. This is Lee, your virtual airline pilot, back with you. We are in Japan this time. You can probably see what looks like Mount Fuji in the distance. Not sure which mountain it is, but we'll check it out later. We're in Hokkaido, and this is WAKKANAI Airport in Japan. Romeo, Juliet, Charlie, Whiskey. It's a payware scenery by Simulacion Extrema. This is version 1, the release version, and it's for the PC version of Flight Sim 2020. Downloads at 512 meg and installs at just over 1.4 gigabytes. Currently available from Sim Market. The price is €15.60, which equates to roughly $17.09 US, or £13.54 UK. As ever, the UK and US prices are estimates from the euro and include VAT or tax, which of course may vary depending on your country of purchase. I was sent this very kindly by the developer, so thank him very much for that. But as ever, the thoughts and comments are my own. I've not been influenced by anybody else. It's been a while since we popped into Japan, and this is a nice little small country airport almost. That's probably worth a look at, also because of the development of the scenery, which I've had a look at and is really well detailed. Not much to say that's wrong with this. It's a nice little airport, yeah, it's just great. It's in a beautiful location, nice long runway. It's a fairly small airport. There are flights that operate into here, and we'll go into that in history. But often it does suffer from bad weather in the winter, and sometimes the airport has to close. But apart from that, it's another interesting place to fly to. Maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours from Tokyo. Very nice indeed. So as ever, let's start with some history. So WAKKANAI Airport, Romeo, Juliet, Charlie, Whiskey, is a public use airport owned by the Japanese Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism and operated by Hokkaido Airports. The airport is located just 6 miles or 10 kilometers southeast of WAKKANAI in Hokkaido, Japan. WAKKANAI is the northernmost airport in Japan that is capable of handling jet aircraft. Due to its small size, it is susceptible to closure during the cold winter months, in which case incoming aircraft are often diverted to Ashikahara Airport. The terminal has 1 jet bridge, 1 apron gate for mid-sized jet aircraft, and 2 apron gates for smaller commuter aircraft. WAKKANAI Airport opened to passenger traffic in 1960, initially on an irregular basis. Air Nippon began scheduled services from WAKKANAI to Okudama Airport and Rishiri Airport in 1974, followed by Ruben Airport in 1978 and New Chitose Airport in 1980. Air Nippon discontinued the short Ruben and Rishiri commuter flights in 2003 due to poor load factors. In 1987, the 3,937-foot or 1,200 metre main runway was extended to 7,128 feet or 2,200 metres, allowing all Nippon Airways to begin jet services from Tokyo. The flight was initially seasonal and did not become a year-round service until May 1997. The city of WAKKANAI provided subsidiaries for city residents to use the flight until 2005, when discounted fares became available. As of 2022, ANA has 2 scheduled daily round trips to Sapporo using the Bombardier Q400 turboprops, and 1 scheduled daily round trip to Tokyo, 2 from June and September, using the Boeing 737 and the Airbus A321 jets. Now I've seen also that they currently still have New Chitose services going into this airport as well. But as I say, just under 2 hours from the main islands, this is another nice place to fly into, certainly during the summer. It's a nice scenery right off the bat. It's a really nice scenery, lots of attention to detail. It's not massive, but everything you need is there. And 2 things right off the bat. The people that we will have a look at, they actually look Japanese, which is brilliant. And this landside road here extends right out to the town. So they've done a fair bit of work. But yeah, so there we go. That's a history for you. A beautiful little airport. We'll go down and we'll test the jetway. Okay, jetways. So WAKKANAI has only one jetway attached to stand 2, as you can see. Now before we start, I found that I could not actually spawn onto stand 2. The spawn points from the menu were really not in line with the scenery. Now that's not the developer's fault. It's obviously something that's due to Asobo and the way it's all set up, but basically I could not spawn onto the position. So what I did is I turned on the APU, disconnected the ground power, connected the tug, pushed the aircraft back and then repositioned it, as you can see now. It's about the best that I could get it. But as you see, it's pretty close to the center line and it's almost close to the touchdown spot. Okay, so I've opened the L1 door. Let's try the jetway and see if we can get a connection. That looks pretty good. It's moving to the right position. The stairs, or rather the wheels turn, which is good. Stairs are on the other side on this one. Waiting for the hood to go over, and there it is. So let's get a close-up look. So that looks to be a pretty good connection. Looks quite nice. Looks really good, pretty good. So when you fly in and taxi in and position the aircraft correctly, looks like you'll get a good jetway connection. But just remember, you may have issues trying to spawn directly onto this stand if you're starting from this airport. So look from the other side. And once again, jetway connection looks really good there. Okay, there's a small gap at the top, but actually the rubber bit doesn't seem to have gone through the skin at all, which is quite impressive. Okay, and like most of these issues, the stairwell has gone into the concrete, but again, these are just little things that I tend to look for. It's not really a problem and it won't affect how the jetway works. And here we are looking down the jetway towards the connecting point. And this is the intermediate connection point. And here we are looking inside at the doorway connector. As you can see, the connection is pretty good. The door's free, easy to open. It hasn't hit the rubber part at all. But like many, this is quite a small area here. That's the view looking to the connecting tour and the jetway from inside the aircraft. So the only other thing to report is you can't see internally. This isn't developed here, so this is as far as it goes. But externally all looks good, connection's fine, no real problems. Let's just disconnect, see how it goes. It's a nice looking jetway. Note that the wheels turn at the bottom, which is really good. And there you can see the stairs actually come back out of the concrete. All looks pretty good there, no real complaints with that at all. So let's look at runways during the dusk hours. We'll lower the light and have a look at the navigational situation here. Okay, runways. So we've lowered the lighting. It's 7:30 in the evening, local time here at WAKKANAI in Hokkaido. WAKKANAI Airport operates a single runway 0826 measuring 7,128 feet or 2,200 meters in length, and it's made from asphalt. The airport lies at an elevation of 27 feet or 8 meters and is in the GMT UTC plus 9 hours time zone. Now Japan does not currently operate daylight saving time, and so with the UK moving 1 hour ahead of UTC, currently WAKKANAI in Japan is 8 hours ahead of the UK. So let's look at runway 08, which we're looking down the throat of it now, and I'm reading out the charts for you. It features high intensity runway lighting with sequence flashing lights SFL, high intensity airfield lighting system, centerline lighting, touchdown zone lighting and precision approach path indicators on the runway left side. Now looking at this straight away, the touchdown zone lighting, which should be here, is missing, and the flashing lights also are missing. Now it's standard high intensity airfield lighting system which you have, but it also has SFL or sequence flashing lights, which should be here. And those are the only two things that are missing: touchdown zone and the sequence flashing lights. Everything else is there, including the end identifiers, the PAPIs, and the high intensity lighting system. But you've got pretty much everything you need here. Runway 08 features a standard instrument landing system in addition to both RNP and VRR approach options. So this is the main runway generally, with the ILS, and yeah, you know, like I said, it's fine. Everything you need's here. Touchdown zone lighting would have been useful, but and obviously the sequence flashing lights, but you've got pretty much what you need to get in here. Let's go and have a look at the other end, runway 26. So runway 26, the other end, and we're looking down the throat of it now, has high intensity runway lighting, centerline lighting, small airfield lighting system, which I believe is this part here, and precision approach path indicators again on the left side. So you've got all this. You've also got lead-in lights, but you've got a shout at getting into both runways here. And this runway features RNP and VOR approach options, no ILS, but it also has approach light beacons, which you can see flashing either side, and circling guidance lights. Now I don't see any circling guidance lights. Let's have a higher look at this runway from over the lake. Right, so that's interesting. We do have sequence flashing lights on runway 26 there. I'm not sure that that's part of the circling guidance light system, but you can see what I've done is I've moved up to a higher elevation away from the approach, and you can see now we've got flashing lights and the flashing lights on the runway end. Let's go back to runway 08 and see if the same thing happens. Right, so here's runway 08. And as you can see, you can't even see the lead-in lights from this angle, although you can see the runway stop lights there, identifying lights flashing away in a way that you probably couldn't quite see them on the lead-in approach. Not sure quite why all this is. It could do with being fixing if they really want to make it accurate as per the charts. But as I've said, you know, this runway 08, which is equipped with an ILS, so you're not going to really have much of a problem. And when you line up with the runway, you'll see the lighting. And depending on how you approach runway 26, you'll see flashing lights. But there really shouldn't be too much of a problem getting into either runways during the darkness or low light hours, or during the daytime hours for that matter. You have instrument approaches available to both runways, and it really isn't going to be a problem. As I say, you've got various little bits and pieces that are missing here. Touchdown zone lighting at the runway 26 end, and the flashing lights are missing. And at the other end I can't see the circling guidance lights, although they've augmented the approach lighting system. So if the developer wants to look at this and see what can be done, that's great, but I don't think it's hugely necessary. But if you want to be accurate as per the charts, then it probably does need to be looked at. So that does it for runways. Let's get down to the ramp itself properly during the daytime and have a look at what we've got here. Well, so here we go then. Before we do the tour of this airport and have a look at it in detail, just want to let you know that I tried something. I closed the program, Flight Simulator, relaunched it from the start, and reinserted the aircraft back at this airport at the selected gate that has the jetway, and lo and behold, it spawned in the correct position. So the first time I did this must have been some kind of anomaly. But in any event, I still urge you to have a look and just make sure that when you load the aircraft from the menu at this airport and you want the jetway gate, just check its position. Anyway, it's midday, it's a clear day, probably a very rare thing at this airport. Let's start the tour. So we'll start by having a quick look at the runway and the runway surface, and as you can see, signage is quite good. The road system there goes all the way out to the very perimeter here, the very limit of the runway. There you can see the the windsock prominently marked, and here right at the very end here you can see some equipment, and you can see the road goes pretty much all the way around the airport. It's all been properly done. The threshold markings are typically Japanese, which you find at many of these airports. And here you can see the lighting system at the beginning of the runway. So here we are looking at the runway 26 threshold, and interesting to note here you can see the ripples in the concrete, which have been very nicely modelled, along with the usual rubber tyre marks on the runway. And here's a look down the other side. As you can see, various bits and pieces, all fully detailed and modelled, along with the approach lighting. Again, the runway is marked in yellow instead of white, and here you can see the road that goes all the way down past the airport, and you've got the sea, the coast on the other side. So a quick high-level shot showing the airport and the location and the coastline. You've got vehicles going down the road here, and of course the airport identification name in English at the side of the runway. Okay, so let's start with a little airside tour and overview here, looking at the airport complex itself, the airside ramp. There you can see the fire station on the left, and the taxiway and apron markings are all as they should be, beautifully done. Lots of good texturing. Concrete mark is really well done there too. Fuel farm over to the left, and you've got these beautiful trees. Heading out towards the runway again, you can see various bits and pieces. There's the ILS equipment down there, and pretty much everything you can see, or everything that's at the airport, has been fully included and modelled. This is runway 08, the ILS equipped runway. All looks really nice. So we start to have a close look at the hangars and the bits and pieces that are available airside for you. And as you can see, the detail is really stunning. They got everything here. Everything's 3D and fully modelled and textured, nothing left of photo scenery. A nice big hangar there. And you've got various engineers and bits and pieces and people all walking about. Nicely textured and modelled jetway. Here we look at a fire station. You see this in a few bits and pieces around this airport. People walking around and sort of suddenly disappear, but it all seems to work. So let's look landside now. The car models are really good. They're not sort of weird in any way, shape or form. And here you can see various people and people walking by and so on. And actually, if we look up close, you can see these people, these models are even Japanese, which is excellent. So I'll continue our little tour landside. As you can see, beautiful road markings. Everything pretty much as per the real airport from the research I've sort of done so far. The building is parallaxed, which is good. Again, you've got static people models. The parallaxing looks really quite good actually, it's quite detailed. And again, these people, they actually look Japanese people, which is a real bit of a surprise for me. I was quite surprised and very pleasantly surprised, I might add. As you can see, all the buildings are textured. There's the back of that hangar we saw. Really good fence line, various other odd vehicles scattered around the airport. And again, the vehicle quality is actually good. You don't have wheels missing or anything like that. Look at that wall, the texturing on the wall, beautiful. So here you've got the fuel station where you've got tankers that go out to service the aircraft. Again, you've got very nice detail everywhere you kind of look, really. There you've got a tennis court, and the light modelling, fence line modelling looks great. Coming out towards the Airside Road. So a little overview of the airport from landside. All the vehicles don't sort of really work. I mean, they're close, but they don't really work. However, I've included them just for ambience, as it were. So a close look at the airport entrance. Again, the modelling is top notch here. The signage is beautiful, all in Japanese, and English there on the board to the right. And in what looks like Russian. As we come into the airport here, again you've got these people, you've got the structure here that was commissioned for the airport along with the name in Japanese, and the road signage looks good. And here you got the landside car park. Again, look at the car models, really nicely done, correctly placed, can't see too much or too many out of position. It's really nice when people go to the lengths of actually making these little bits of areas that are quite important, but they do them in 3D and model them properly and don't leave them to photograph. It just looks so much better. There in the distance you can see the snow base with the various snow machines and equipment. And again, some nice modelling. Everything down to the little buildings there, so you can see parallaxing here on this building here, and the gates. Buses are default, but they're all perfectly acceptable. Okay, let's have a look at the control tower building. There you can see it's fully modelled with people inside. The roof and the antennas, all the various bits and pieces are all there, and they look great, to be honest. They look really good. So, interior has been modelled. You've got the TV screens, monitors, computer systems, no seats, and they've decided to use default Asobo engineers in here rather than model air traffic controllers, which is the only sort of question mark I can think of, really. They've obviously decided not to go to the length of using any static Japanese people in here sitting down. They've got these three engineers here, which is fine, just a little unusual, and the only real question mark I've got so far. Little close-up view there showing you out through the glass. Glass effect is great, it's really good, and here close up you can even see the computers and the screens. The detail is really good. Samsung monitors, everything right down to the detail here is really, really well done. And a quick view the other side there, looking out towards landside and the snow base. Looks really good. There's a view across the tower from airside. No complaints at all. Lovely weathering on the roof there at the bottom. Quick look at the fire station. You've got a default Asobo fire engine here with an attendant engineer, and here you've got modelled ones sitting in their own little hangars, which is brilliant. Okay, so there you go, that's a daytime tour of the airport. Quite small as you can see, but nonetheless beautifully detailed, and some really quality work has been done. Let's lower the lighting to dusk now and have a look at the lighting as it comes up. Okay, it's 7:45 in the evening local time. It's May 2023, and here you can see the airport now as the lighting comes on. Very, very nice, very subtle. Makes this airport looks wonderful. In the distance here you can see various bits and pieces. Not entirely sure what they are. I think they're power lines. And the mountain in the distance as the sun goes down. And there's a nice shot for you looking towards the sunset from landside to airside. It just looks really beautiful. It's a lovely piece of work. From this point here you can see the lighting on the buildings. Okay, you've got one or two asobo globes around, but essentially it looks great. It looks really, really good. Let's start with a close-up look at the ramp. So there's my aircraft parked on the stand, and as you can see the lighting is really beautifully done. I mean, this building is not modelled inside, but here this parallax and the lighting effect really works. Makes it look as though it's real. And again you've got little subtle lighting around here that really makes it look really good. Plenty of light from the main light bulbs here. Gives you good access on the ramp. So looking from the outside there on the terminal building from the airside lounge, I mean, it looks really wonderful. So here's a quick look inside the building. As you can see, it's been partially modelled. There's no people, it's not fully done. The airside lounge is modelled in terms that the building is complete, but there's no real internal development as such. But this could be added. Of course, not necessary for your pilots, but you know, again, the amount of work that's been done is excellent. And a quick look at the other end, exactly the same has been done. And here we are, we've just popped outside the building landside, and you can see the outside is fully modelled, the lighting below is beautiful. And here you've got the upper airside corridor, which probably would be part of the lounge or the gates. And here's a view looking up. You can see the control tower in a different distance there. It's been fully lit. We'll look at that in a minute. So looking at this building, this looks like parallaxing and reflections. And again, as you can see, it's been modelled inside. The interior's been modelled, but it hasn't been developed as such. When I talk about modelled, I mean that the building is there. It's been completed. Complete with, I mean, some buildings you go into them, there's nothing inside at all. You can even see the sky outside. But here we've got the building that has the walls, ground, ceiling, and even to some extent some detail inside the building. So this is modelled. And when I say not developed, developed means that it hasn't been fully developed with people or chairs or as you see in some other sceneries. Looking in the other direction there, you can see they've even included the Japanese signage on the inside of the building. And looking at the same part of the building from airside, here you can see the lit stairwell, which really works. I love the way that has been done. That is a really nice feature. And the lighting is subtle and makes it look just as it should. Very pleased with that. Quick look at the control tower building from the outside. Here below you can see parallaxing. And again, here we are inside the building below the control tower, and you can see it's been fully modelled. You've got 4 walls, a ceiling and a roof, windows, doors, everything is there, but they've just not developed it inside with an interior with working people, as it were. You know, there's no real need to do it, but they've gone the distance and did it, and it works. It looks really good, and that's, for me, is a pleasing thing. So into the control tower, looking in from outside. Lighting's fine, you can see everything. And there's a really nice view. The sun has now gone down. You can see the sunset over the water. Very nice indeed. And again, the TV monitors and the computer systems all really good. Detail looks good, even up close. It's a very impressive piece of work. So looking out across the rear part of the main ramp, as you can see, you've got your yellow taxiway signs, which are perfectly okay. No green centerline lights, but here you've got blue airfield edge lights that would denote the taxiway, certainly right out towards the runway. There you've got your runway entry markers with the taxiway designation. And there's the other one looking towards the other side. So a quick look at one of the runway thresholds there. You can see nicely marked out. You've got your high intensity runway lighting. Buildings to the right there going towards the city in the distance. Some evidence of parallaxing, some very nice gentle lighting, which makes it look quite good. Okay, you will need your nose gear light and other lights here to be able to follow the center line and actually make the turn to line up for takeoff. But other than that, perfectly okay. And here's a high level view showing you the airport ramp itself and the layout. Again, looking from the runway, you can see you'll be able to see the exits there when you've got your lighting on. As you turn off the runway, you've got blue airfield edge lights which denote the edges of the taxiway and take you to the apron. On the whole, the lighting is beautifully done pretty much everywhere you look. And again, you can even see the roads that go all the way out here have got lights on them. And there's a frontal shot as the sun goes all the way down. So let's drop it fully down to night time now and see how much the light comes up. Okay, 10 PM local time, and as you can see, we're bathed in darkness now. And the lighting looks really good here. Plenty of light on the apron. You don't have any problems parking or even taxiing in. Again, you can see the blue lights have come up really well. So the airfield demarcation is going to be easy. Couple of close-up shots at the ramp now, and again you can see pretty much the same effect that you had at dusk, only it looks a bit better because the light is more splayed out, as it were. Looks really good. And they're looking in the other direction. Not really much change, it just looks great. Let's have a little tour from airside to landside around the central complex here. So as you can see, the lighting is really nice, even out here, right out towards the road. And again, it looks great landside, really nice. One or two asobo globes there, but most of the lighting is provided by the on-site lights. Very nice indeed. And one more tour across the airside ramp at night. It's a lovely little airport, very nicely modelled, very nicely done. And there's a nice nighttime view showing you the whole complex. I haven't seen any vehicles enter the runway, which is another good plus. So many vehicles go onto the runway, which is really not good. Okay, so let's bring up the dawn. Okay, 5:15 in the morning local time. As you can see, the sun's just about to lift above the horizon to the left there, and the lighting on the airport's almost gone. Ramp lighting is pretty much gone, and you've got the rest of the airport lighting landside that's about to go. Runway is still really nicely lit. It's very nice indeed. And a quick view looking towards the city and the coast there with the mountain on the left. It's a lovely location. It's a beautiful airport, well modelled, and it's just great. Okay, just after 9 AM in the morning, time to give you my conclusion and thoughts here. Okay, right off the bat, this is a small airport. It's not huge. It's quite significant, and as I said in the history description before, it does close a few times in the winter, can get quite challenging. In terms of a product, it's a very, very nicely modelled airport. Lots of attention to detail, both inside and outside. And even though the inside of the terminal hasn't been fully developed, pretty much every building has been internally modelled, which is you know, a good idea to show you how far the developer's gone, and I'm pleased with that. It's very Japanese, right down to the people. And it's a beautiful location by the lakefront, and it's literally within 2 hours of Tokyo, so it could be a nice place to fly into. It's a lovely scenery. We'll certainly do a video in here, I think, of course. Price wise, is it worth the price? Yeah, just about. 15 euros or 13 quid for the amount of work that's been done, and reflecting today's prices, which have gone up slightly. I think the price is pretty much about right. I always occasionally get comments from people asking about price and saying, oh, they think it's too expensive or blah blah blah, but you have to balance a number of things, and I certainly have to balance a number of things when I look at a scenery product and I'm looking at the price. It's the amount of detail, the usability of the airport, how far the developers have gone and what they've chosen not to do, and at the end of the day, outside of the airport, what's been done to make the airport look real given its location. All that comes into play when I look at price. And at the moment, okay, it's now 2023, coming towards the summer. Prices have risen a bit. Flight Simulator 2020 is coming up for nearly 3 years old now, and the prices have come up, and they're actually still a lot cheaper than some of the products you used to get for P3D. And that is something to bear in mind when you look at prices for scenery products. But yeah, for me it's absolutely worth the price. It's great. So much detail for a small airport. It's really, really interesting product. Highly recommended. So there you go, folks. WAKKANAI Airport in Japan, Romeo Juliet Charlie Whiskey, Payware Scenery by Simulacion Extrema, and this is the release version 1 for the PC version of Flight Sim 2020. Download is 512 meg and it installs at just over 1.4 gig. It's currently available from Sim Market, and here's the price: €15.60, which equates to roughly $17.09 US, or £13.54 UK. The US and UK prices are estimates from the euro price, and they do include VAT or tax, which of course may vary depending on the country you're in when you make the purchase. So yeah, beautiful little scenery, highly recommended. I'm really glad I had a look at it. Thanks to the developer for sending it to me. As ever though, the thoughts and conclusions are my own, and they've not been influenced by anybody else. So thanks for joining me, folks. This is Lee, your virtual airline pilot, wrapping up another review of a beautiful little airport. Yeah, highly recommended. Really, really nice little piece of work. Thanks for joining me, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope it's helped you. So you guys take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.